Hi, I'm Stephanie Griffin, a Master Saddlers Association certified fitter with County Saddlery. We at County Saddlery have created a set of videos to educate our clients so that you can be confident in your ability to find an optimally fitting county saddle that both you and your horse will love. In these videos, you will learn how to determine what tree size your horse needs, as well as how to evaluate the fit of a new or gently used demo county saddle. County's Wither Tracings video will walk you through the process, step by step, on how to take a set of wither tracings so that you can decide what tree size your horse needs. Wither tracing kits are available for purchase. Wither tracing kits are only $29.95 with free shipping. The kits include everything you need to do your own tracings, including reference to 2 free 15-minute instructional video links, how to take wither tracings and the 12 steps of static saddle fitting, a checklist for the 12 steps of static saddle fitting, a flexible curve, file folder for tracing transfers, marker, pen, and chalk, and tracing comparison charts with narrow, medium, wide, and extra wide tracings for approximate comparison to your horse's withers. County Saddlery's other video, the 12 steps of static saddle fitting, will show you how to evaluate the fit of a new or gently used demo county saddle being considered for purchase from County Saddlery. Both of these videos were designed so that you can be confident in your ability to find an optimally fitting saddle for both you and your horse, all with the expert help of a County Saddlery representative assisting you remotely and virtually throughout the entire process. Please go to www.saddles.com to find your nearest County Saddlery representative. Hi, I'm Stephanie Griffin with County Saddlery. This video is going to teach you the Master Saddlers Association's 12 steps of static saddle fitting. It's important to note that there are 2 phases to saddle fitting. The first is observation of static saddle fit on the horse's back while the horse is standing. The second phase is called a dynamic saddle fitting, and that's observation of the horse and rider and their biomechanics in motion. This video is going to cover static saddle fitting only. We felt it was important to mention that because we're filming this during the COVID pandemic, that we are taking all health and safety precautions. We're filming this at a private barn where I care for and keep my own horses. In addition, my family members who I've been quarantined with are helping me with the production of this video. For instance, my husband's behind the camera and my kids are assisting. To begin, make sure that your horse is standing square on a level, even surface. It helps to have a handler available to help you, or if you're able, you can put your horse in a cross-tie situation. Always safety first, and make sure that your horse is standing on a level surface. Throughout this process, please make sure the horse's head and neck are at a normal angle, not lowered during the fitting assessment. Although I'll only be working on one side to demonstrate, please be sure to follow this process on your own horse on both sides of the horse. To position the saddle, push the pommel slightly down and rearward until you feel the saddle fall into a slot, about 3 or 4 fingers behind the very back edge of the scapula. This allows for pressure from the rider's weight to be dispersed throughout the entire length of the saddle tree and panel, rather than being focused on just 4 points, a condition called bridging. Be sure to watch the horse's response when approaching him with the saddle and while placing it on his back. Look for signs such as nervousness, pinning ears, swishing tail, hollowing the back, or biting. If that's the case, the horse dreads the saddle. The old practice of placing the saddle too far forward with the idea of freeing up the back, which most of us are guilty of, does exactly the opposite. In fact, pressure tests clearly prove that placing a saddle too far forward interferes with the shoulder and puts excessive pressure on the T16 region of the back. The Boy Scout rule of thumb for static fit is approximately 3 large or 4 small fingers clearance underneath the pommel with the saddle in the correct position. If your horse has an extra wide wither, you will have more clearance, both statically and dynamically, because the wither doesn't go up into the pommel as much as a narrow wither does. If your horse has an extra wide wither, a level seat can be an even more important indicator of proper fit than the amount of clearance. All saddles, especially on narrow withers, will lose clearance during dynamic fitting because the saddle's loaded with the rider's weight. Clearance with the saddle loaded should be evaluated with and without a pad. Here, adequate clearance is the key, but no less than approximately 2.5 fingers of sustainable clearance is optimal during a dynamic fitting. You want to check for a level seat. So what you're going to do is visualize a straight line that's parallel to the ground and look at the deepest part of the seat. The area should be level to put the rider squarely on their seat bones and in balance. And this one looks really good, parallel to the ground. Analyzing the pommel to cantle relationship. This is the pommel, this is the cantle. Again, you're going to visualize a straight line from the pommel to the cantle. Now the cantle generally should be about 2 to 3 inches higher than the pommel for a dressage saddle and about 1 to 2 inches for a jump saddle. If the pommel is higher, the saddle then is of course not properly fitted. The angle of the points can be found underneath the stirrup bar, and you can find the tree points right here. Usually there's a little pocket, you can feel for them. This is right here on this saddle. So what you want to do is lift the flap, and you're going to look from the front of the saddle. And what you want to do is make sure that the angle of the points are parallel with the withers, okay? Now, you want to look at the bigger shoulder on the horse. This horse has a bigger left shoulder, and so you want it parallel to the musculature of the horse, but also should be within 10 degrees of the heaviest side of the horse. So this left side is the heaviest side of the horse, and you always fit to the heaviest side. The point panel is the vertical front part of the panel. If the tree's too wide, it's going to sit low in front, and you will have more pressure toward the top of the point panel. However, if the tree is too narrow, it's going to sit too high in front, and it will have more panel pressure at the bottom of the tree points. Assessing the panel pressure and the contact. The way to do this is to bring your hand palm facing you, and you're going to run your hand down the point panel of the saddle. Now this is generally about halfway. The rest of the flap does not matter. So running your hand here, you want to feel for smooth, even contact and pressure. Then you're going to take your right hand and do the same thing. You're going to run your hand this way and all the way through, feeling for uniform pressure and contact. The saddle shouldn't rock excessively from front to back or roll side to side. Rolling side to side is almost always a result of excess adipose tissue, which is a fat layer underneath the skin, which is also a major cause of saddles slipping forward. Trying to tighten the girth when the horse is too fat is like trying to girth up Jell-O. So you just want to assess the saddle by pushing on the front and back, checking for that stability. The old rule was that the saddle panel should not extend beyond T18. That remains true if the panel is stiff or rigid. However, new guidelines from both the Society of Master Saddlers and the Master Saddlers Association state that it's more important that the flat length of the tree, where it meets the cantle, so the tree goes this way and meets the cantle, should not extend beyond T18. If the panel is wolf-locked and pliable, like this saddle, and it extends past the end of the tree where it meets the cantle and slightly behind T18, it acts as a diffuser to relieve excessive pressure at the end of the tree. In assessing gullet width, the rule of thumb is that the saddle should be centered on the horse's spine. The gullet should be wide enough to provide adequate clearance for the dorsal spinous processes and approximately 1/2 of an inch on either side of the dorsal spinous processes to compensate for connective tissue. No one gullet width is right for all horses. Horses with wide flat backs need a wider gullet than a horse with narrower withers and a more angled back. The panel should sit primarily on the longissimus group of muscles. A gullet that's too wide is just as bad as a gullet that's too narrow. Just a reminder, you can go to countysaddlerystore.com to get your own wither tracing kit for only $29.95 with free shipping. It's complete with everything you need to do your own tracings, including references to 2 free 15-minute instructional video links, how to do a wither tracing, and 12 steps of static saddle fitting, a checklist for the 12 steps of static saddle fitting, flexible curve, file folder for tracing transfers, marker pen and chalk, and a tracing comparison chart with narrow, medium, wide, extra wide wither tracings for approximate comparison to your horse. Make an appointment with your county saddlery rep for a virtual saddle fitting. These videos will qualify you to confidently interact with your county representative and MSA trained saddle fitter during a virtual saddle fitting appointment so that you can feel confident in your choice of a new or demo county saddle. Go to saddles.com to find the representative nearest you.